On a chilly November evening in a bustling city, the streets were alive with the sounds of honking cars and the chatter of hurried pedestrians. But down a narrow alley, away from the warmth of the shops and cafes, a heart-wrenching scene unfolded. A baby, no more than a few months old, lay bundled in a worn blanket, abandoned in a cardboard box. The air was biting cold, and the child's tiny face was pale, lips quivering in the chill. As the city continued its relentless pace, a stray kitten emerged from the shadows. It was a scruffy little creature, with matted fur and wide, curious eyes. Hunger gnawed at its belly, but something pulled it toward the box. The kitten approached cautiously, its instincts both wary and hopeful. When it saw the baby, an instinct deeper than hunger kicked in. It jumped into the box, nuzzling against the baby's side, seeking warmth and comfort. A passerby, a young woman named Clara, was the first to notice. She was on her way home from work, her mind occupied with the mundane worries of life, bills, deadlines, and a relationship that felt more like a burden than a joy. But as she walked past the alley, the sight of the baby and the kitten stopped her in her tracks. Her heart raced, a mix of fear and concern washing over her. "Someone help!" she cried, her voice trembling. People continued to walk by, some casting glances, others shaking their heads as if to dismiss the scene. But Clara couldn't look away. She stepped closer, her heart pounding in her chest. The kitten, sensing the warmth of another, curled tighter against the baby, purring softly. It was a sound that seemed to echo in the cold air, a melody of hope amidst despair. Clara knelt down, her breath catching in her throat. "Oh my God," she whispered, reaching out to touch the baby's cheek, which felt alarmingly cold. Just then, an older man paused, his brow furrowed with concern. "What's happening here?" he asked, his voice gravelly but kind. Clara explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. The man nodded, his expression shifting from confusion to determination. "We need to call for help," he said, pulling out his phone. As they waited for assistance, more people gathered, drawn by the commotion. Some gasped at the sight of the baby, while others cooed at the kitten, who seemed to instinctively know it was doing something remarkable. It licked the baby's face, its warmth a small beacon of hope in that dark alley. Minutes felt like hours, and the tension hung thick in the air. Clara held the baby's tiny hand, feeling the fragility of life. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, though she felt a pang of doubt. The kitten continued to purr, its little body a source of comfort. When the sirens finally pierced the night, a wave of relief washed over Clara. Paramedics rushed into the alley, their voices calm and authoritative. They gently lifted the baby from the box, checking for signs of distress. The kitten, undeterred, followed closely, as if it were a guardian, unwilling to leave its newfound friend. As the paramedics worked, Clara stepped back, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and sorrow. She watched as the baby was wrapped in a warm blanket, the kitten still nestled close. The crowd murmured, some wiping away tears, others sharing stories of their own struggles. The baby was taken to the hospital, and Clara, feeling an inexplicable bond, decided to follow. The kitten was placed in a small carrier, its eyes wide with confusion but filled with a fierce loyalty. At the hospital, Clara learned that the baby was stable, but the journey ahead would be long. The authorities would need to find a safe home, and the kitten, now a hero in its own right, would not be separated from the child. Days turned into weeks, and Clara found herself visiting the hospital every day. She would sit by the baby's side, holding its tiny hand, and watching the kitten curl up beside it, a constant source of warmth and love. The bond between them was undeniable, and soon, Clara began to feel a shift within herself. The worries of her own life began to fade, replaced by a sense of purpose. One day, as she sat in the hospital room, the social worker approached her with a proposal. "Would you consider fostering the baby? The kitten needs a home too, and we believe they should stay together." Clara's heart soared. "Yes, absolutely," she exclaimed, tears streaming down her face. The baby and the kitten had saved her in ways she never expected, pulling her out of her own darkness.